This morning I had the strangest dream, but it was also really beautiful as well. And it relates to my experience right now, what I'm going through and what I'm working through, and what I'm feeling as well. My body code work, I've been doing body code work with Catherine Caldwell for about, I think I've done 4 sessions now, 3-4 sessions with her, working through and peeling back the layers of beliefs, statements, programs, negative statements in my subconscious, and removing those and replacing them with positive ones, doing the body code work. And this is the book that I'm reading about the body code. And what I'm experiencing as a consequence of doing this work is when I'm finishing a session, days later, the echoes of that work, of the former programs, the former statements, the former beliefs are echoing through my being. And the resonance of those echoes as they move through my being really ascertain how I feel in the moment when I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing in that moment, but also reflect as well what I'm experiencing in my life and how deeply I feel the experiences of my life in regards to what's happening in my life in that moment. So back to that dream, it was quite poignant for me because it related to the experience I had last week. For me, let me explain what happened last week, and I'll come back to the dream, and I'll tie that up with the body code work and why I'm feeling the way I am. Eventually, this is going to be a beautiful little story, and also a reference to the body code work and how important that is I'm finding in my life. So last week, on New Year's Eve, I had a beautiful experience. I've been 9 months without any kind of intimate connection with anybody because I have met no woman in my life that I wanted to be intimate with for about 9 months. And I was working with someone at the button factory in Auckland, in the bar, who I met in early November, working in the bar with her as well. And I had no idea that she was into me. I had no idea. But I definitely had a connection with her, a great connection, and I loved working with her. And on New Year's Eve, we worked together again, and there was a really nice, sweet connection there between the two of us. And during the night, I got hit on 4 times on New Year's Eve. 2 Russians, a Chilean, and a Kiwi hit on me on New Year's Eve. I don't know what was in the air, but I ended up going home with my bartender, and we had a beautiful experience. It wasn't a fully sexual experience, but it was definitely a connective experience. And the woman that I spent New Year's Day with, and that whole New Year's Day experience, the woman I spent time with, was open, was free, spontaneous, caring, beautiful, loving, deeply affectionate, funny, and lent into my connection with me, lent into me. So therefore I felt safe to let her in because I felt like it felt like it was the right feeling for my heart to let her in this way. So I felt like this was a beautiful connection, and it was going to be a summer romance for me because my intention was to go traveling again this year in 2026, was to go traveling abroad. So I had the intention of having a summer romance with this woman. I went back to work at Festival to do a pack down on the glamping area at so I was away for another 3.5 days. On the 2nd of January, I went back to work for almost 3 days. When I came out, I saw her again. I think it was the 5th of January, I didn't recognize this woman at all. She'd become someone else. She was leaning away from me. She was fearful. She was overwhelmed. She was not in a place of calmness or stillness. The spontaneity, the humor, the laughter was all gone. She was hard. She was fearful. So I stepped back and I held the space and created the space for her to be able to feel what she felt, but also did my best to be able to make her feel safe in the connection with me by being very soft, very gentle, very spacious in the way I use my language, my body language, everything about my connection with her. I just moved back to let her feel like she could feel safe, which she appreciated. And then the next day she came back to my mum's place where I was working, painting a ceiling in my mother's kitchen dining room. And she hung out with me for most of the afternoon, and I got to talk to her and asked her what she wanted to experience moving forward with our connection. And she met me in the middle of a bridge. My analogy of, I had a dream on the 1st of December, after we'd actually spent time together that night. I had a dream that we were on a bridge together facing each other, and that we went back to my side and her side of the bridge. Rather than meeting in the middle, we went back to our sides in that dream. It was quite prophetic. So anyway, I told her about my dream on the it would have been the 6th or the 7th of January. I told her about my dream, and she listened to my dream and was interested in why I felt that way. So I said, I don't know why I felt that way, but I just had this dream, and this is the experience. Rather than us being together in the middle of the bridge facing each other and co-creating, you went back to your side, I went back to my side of the bridge. And that day when we were hanging out at my mother's place, we had a beautiful day, afternoon, and then she went back home, and then we were going to catch up that evening for a sauna together. But unfortunately the sauna we were going to go to was closed, and as we went around town looking for a sauna to go to in Auckland City, it became obvious to both of us that we weren't going to have a sauna. So we went back to her place, and then she became passive aggressive with me. She became cold, callous and cruel, and I could see in her behaviour, my own behaviour, when I was her age. We had a difference of 21 years in age difference. She's 33, I'm 54. I could see the maturity level. I saw myself in her as a reflection of myself and my behaviour when I was her age. I would sabotage connection. I was fearful of connection, fearful of being intimate, and fearful of leaning into someone. I would sabotage my relationships by being passive aggressive, by cheating on my girlfriends, by being in my fear, pushing them away, doing anything I possibly could to push them away, especially when they leaned into me. I'd push them away. So I saw this behaviour in her, and I was like, wow, here I am. I'm seeing myself and my behaviour when I was her age, 33. Now with being brutally honest with myself in regards to my own shadow work, I have learnt to open up my heart more. And I've learnt to open up my heart in a way that allows me to, when it feels right, to lean in fearlessly in the moment. No forever. The whole fairy tale of forever for me is a fairy tale. But leaning into the moment with someone in regards to intimate connection, it feels a lot more natural to me now, because I know what I'm available for and what I bring to a connection due to the nature of my maturity and my shadow work, leaning brutally into my analysis and having taken radical accountability for my behaviour, my thoughts, deeds, actions, words, decisions, choices, my entire spectrum of life. From 2020 onwards, really, when I began to study natural law, I began to understand that radical accountability, and also my taking full authority for my life in every way, and knowing that I am the authority of my creation and my life. I knew that this is how I needed to move forward with my life, and this is who I've become as a man, taking full accountability for my life. And I said to her as well, if you want to be with me in this way, what I would ask of you is you be fully accountable for your life experience, and how you choose to live your life. How do you feel about that? And she said she loved the idea of this, loved the idea of a radical accountability, stepping into a place where she was held accountable for her actions, words and deeds. So But when I left her house that night, after her being passive aggressive to me, being cruel to me and being mean to me, I left her a voicemail on WhatsApp saying, this is my experience. And remember this, my experience in regards to your behaviour. I am taking this accountability for how I've chosen to feel, right, due to the nature of what I've heard. She panicked, said to me, can you please call me right away? I couldn't sleep. If I won't be able to sleep tonight, I get really nervous about this situation, being held accountable. It makes me feel really unsettled and unsafe. Can you please call me and tell me what's going on so I can understand what's happening here? So I called her up. I told her exactly what I felt, what I experienced. And I told her once again, please understand, I've made the choices to feel this way. I'm taking accountability for my choices and my feelings. This is how I feel due to the nature of what you said to me. It's only who you are, but this is my feeling. This is how I've chosen to feel. I'm accountable for how I choose to feel. It's my choice. But I'm very gentle and very soft with her in the same breath. You know, of course, I'm not going to be rude or horrible to her. I'm just like, I feel disappointed that I experienced this with you. Because I don't want to be angry at her. I have no reason to be angry at her, right? I don't. Because I truly cared for this woman. My heart was literally opening up to this woman. The 1st of January, I literally opened up my heart in a way that I haven't with someone for a very, very long time. And that was really powerful for me to do that. And it felt safe, it felt right. I felt like it was the right feeling thing for me to do in my life, is to open up my heart this way to somebody, and she was the woman I chose to have this experience with, which relates to how I feel at the end of the story. So, as I leaned into her more, she began to lean away from me and became more avoidant. In my experience, that was my experience of her being, the more I made offers to connect with her, offers to spend time with her, offers to co-create with her, the more that she shut those offers down. And rather than meeting me back in the middle of the bridge by creating new offers for us to connect, she left them like space, just spaciousness, without coming back to me. So I said to her eventually, well, this is my situation, this is what I'm experiencing. I'm leaning into you, and you're being avoidant, you're leaning away from me. You're not meeting me in a way that's coming back to me with offers to reconnect in any way at all. In fact, the opposite. When I'm leaning into you and creating and giving you offers to connect with me in going to gigs, parties, retreats, weekends, or walks away, or do something cool together, you lean away from me. You say, no, I got this going on. I want to spend time with this individual. I want to spend time with this individual. I want to spend time with that individual, which is fine, but there's no counter offer to me to meet her in any way. You know, I'm crossing over to her side of the bridge, so to speak, and this is something I experienced last year with my last partner as well, at the very beginning of last year. I would have to cross over to her side of the bridge to meet her every time, which got boring for me, and I became very self-aware of it. I explained to my ex-partner, Sasha, that this is my experience. I'm constantly crossing over to your side of the bridge rather than you meeting me in the middle. When my offers are made to you, you shut them down. I have to cross over to your side of the bridge in order to actually have an experience with you, which is making me feel like I'm doing all the work to keep this connection moving forward and us moving forward. And you're taking more than you're meeting me or giving. That's my experience. So being acutely aware of this, I was like, well, why am I bringing this into my life? But also, do I want to experience this all over again? And the answer is no, I don't want to experience this all over again. If I'm going to be in the middle of the bridge in regards to this analogy of a connection, I want the woman that I'm connecting with to meet me in the middle of the bridge, and then by doing that, we co-create. So I told her my experience, what I was experiencing, what I was feeling. I said, look, I don't want to be in a situation like this. Perhaps we're better off being friends, given the nature of what I'm experiencing and your avoidance. To which she said to me, your insight is deeply wrong and also cruel and insensitive. I gave her the opportunity to actually come back to me to tell me why I was being insensitive, cruel, and deeply wrong. To which she said, no, I'm not interested. No, thank you. I'm done here. I'm out. But what I didn't tell you in this message, in this clip, was that also she had another man in her life that she was seeing, who she brought into the story, into our connection, 3 days after we'd been hanging out. She said, oh, I've been seeing this guy, I haven't seen him for 2.5 months. I said, well, okay, well, you know, I'm a monogamous character. I don't want to be in a connection anymore. I've done it to death, dating and seeing other people. I've done that most of my life. Now I want to dive deep with one individual who wants to dive deep with me. And it doesn't matter how long that is, we just do it together in the moment. Moment to moment existence. She said, well, you know, I'm not sure, but my body no longer responds to this individual like it used to. And I looked at her and went, what does that even mean? It's not a yes or no. It's not a yes, you're going to keep seeing him. It's not a no, you're not going to keep seeing him. So what even is that? Does that even mean? Once again, there's a real lack of clarity in this connection. And my heart I could feel in my heart that wasn't breaking, but I could feel the connection being severed slowly due to the nature of this behaviour and what I was hearing from this woman. So I got to a place in my own heart was like, okay, I need to choose me. I had chosen her, and now I need to choose me. But that still hurts me, because I deeply cared for this woman. Even though I only met her and spent time with her, just a short time with her, my ability to feel more, due to the nature of my shadow work, my ability to feel more really relates to the situation where I'm actually opening up my heart so much. And it's not about attachment, because I'm not attached to the experience, but my heart energetically connected with her, and the entanglement of that connection for me to give myself in this way, even for a moment, means everything to me. It's a sacred fucking dance for me now. So I'm feeling deeply about this. So she knocks it on the head, basically tells me that we can be homies. I said to her, we're not homies because you're not meeting me. My homies meet me and take full accountability for their words, deeds, actions and behaviour. That's why they're my homies. You are now an acquaintance to me. And that makes me feel sad. That I got the woman that I met on the 1st of, and spent time with on the 1st of January this year. So grateful for that experience, so amazing, so beautiful, so just a beautiful way to bring in a new year in the Gregorian calendar. But so deeply sad in the same for me that she couldn't meet me in the way that I'm looking to meet her. It could be a maturity thing. She did tell me she had a lot of fear around relationships because her last boyfriend cheated on her, which is natural. You have a lot of fear, but that's something you could lean into me with. I mean, in regards to who I am now, I would say, I said to her many times, you can lean into me with this, and you can work through things with me if you choose to. Any of the, you want to work through in regards to the situation, don't make me into your fucking whipping boy, or a sounding post, but lean into me and then talk to me about my experience and listen to what I have to tell you in regards to what I've been through and who I was, and see if you can get some gold from there, or talk with me and interact with me so we can work through this energy together. But she didn't want to. I'm not going to make any projections around whether she wants to still remain with this character who she was seeing, who she had sex with 2.5 months ago. I'm not making that assessment at all. It's something for her to decide. Nothing to do with me. We're no longer connecting in that way anyway. We're not even friends. We're acquaintances. My choice. But I still feel through the body code work that my heart, and when I went through and what I was releasing this week on another session I had on Tuesday, today's Thursday, I'm releasing energy, and I can feel it in my heart. I can feel it, the heaviness in my body. I can feel the echo of what I was releasing due to some of those statements that were made, beliefs that were in my subconscious, that were limiting in regards to my ability to feel more and feel deeply. Now, the dream. And this is where it ties up, the dream that I had this morning. I had a dream this morning. One of my high school friends, Richard Tim, and I were hanging out together. And we were the age we are now. I'm 54, Richard would have been 53, 54 too. We were hanging out together, and we were hanging out with a bunch of people, including a bunch of women who were friends of ours. And Richard and I were just hanging out, being ourselves, and these beautiful women were all old friends of ours as well, all the same age. We weren't younger. We were all, mature adults. And Richard had a beautiful connection with a woman who leant into him, and he was quite gentle and soft and humorous and really responsive to her leaning in, and it was a beautiful connection I could see they were having with each other. It was quite a special moment I was watching and witnessing them being together. And I had two women who were both leaning into me, and I stepped back and let them decide who was going to lean into me more out of the two of them. And I watched them talking to each other about how they were relating to me, and they both had been, well, one of them had been a former lover of mine, and I heard her say to this other woman, whose name was Nicola Dovey, who was a woman that I met and knew. Her sister Michelle I was in love with in the early 1990s in the 20th century. I was in love with her sister Michelle, and Nicola was an amazing waitress and a beautiful woman who my friend Scott was in love with. And in my dream, Nicola Dovey and this woman had a conversation, and the woman who had been a former lover of mine said to me, to Nicola, "I've been there with Far, I know what it's like. It's your time with him." So Nicola and I leant into each other in this dream and became lovers ourselves. But I didn't see us actually making love or having sex. What I saw was her coming to me and explaining to me that she understood that I was in love with Michelle back in the early 90s, but she was actually had a crush on me in the early 90s. And this was like for her coming home in this way. And then she'd made her choice, and her choice was me. And then I woke up from the dream, and I was just like, Nicola Dovey. I haven't thought of Nicola Dovey since the early 1990s. She was a beautiful redhead, absolutely stunning. And I thought to myself, what a beautiful dream. Unfortunately for my friend Richard, he experienced what I experienced with this woman called Chelsea that I'm talking about in regards to this video. He experienced exactly what I experienced. This woman leaned into him and then began to move away from him and became more avoidant. So I felt his pain, but in the same moment, I had this beautiful, heartwarming experience of this woman choosing me. This woman choosing me, and two women talking about who was going to have the ability to step in and lean into me, which is kind of flattering in many ways. I felt really flattered to witness this experience and this dream. When Nicola came to me, I was ready and open to having the experience of being with her. I remember looking at her, smiling, going like, how long has it been since we've known each other? And here we are together, finally. Shit, almost 30 years. She looked beautiful, radiant, and she was very still in her presence, very calming. As much as she was, and how much fun she was when I knew her in the early 90s. So what this all means to me, I've got no idea in regards to the dream, but I know that the sadness that I feel now in my heart comes with the fact that I'm able to feel more through the body code work, through shadow work, through full accountability, radical accountability, and my ability to lean into people, which is something that I've learned about myself, how much I've matured in shit, man, less than 10 years. I become a very different man than the man I used to be. Thanks for watching, I truly appreciate it. Ngā te wā. I'll see you again soon.